Welcome back guys to another endgame video, and in this video we will be discussing an effective way to try and obtain a winning position in a rook ending up a pawn. In this example that we will be discussing with the pawn on the 5th rank, the key to winning this ending is to try and cut off the opposing king by a file from your own pawn, and it's important that the king is cut off on the long side of the pawn. Because if the king was cut off on the short side of the pawn, then black would have some defensive resources by utilizing the long side of the board to give checks. So for example, in this case, the king is cut off on the short side of the board, the short side of the pawn, and black can utilize the sufficient checking distance to draw the game after rook h4 check, king e5, and it's hard for white to escape the checks. And this will most likely end in a draw. So back to our main position. So this would be a winning position for white with the pawn on the 5th rank and the king being cut off by a file on the long side of the pawn. The only exception is if black's king is able to support his rook over to the d file. For example, in this case with the king on c7, rook d8 is now possible. And after rook d8, if the rooks are traded, king d5, king d7, and this is a well-known draw. So after rook d8, if white tries another move, for example rook to h1, this would allow the black king to get in front of the pawn, which makes drawing the game much easier. If you haven't watched my previous videos on the Philidor position and the Philidor position gone wrong, do check them out, as I believe they will be quite useful. Links will be in the description below. So back to our main position. So there's not much that black can do here. He can try rook h4 check, but after king f5, white can effectively neutralize the checking distance of the rook. After rook h5 check, king f6, rook h6 check, king g5, and white will slowly improve his position. So if rook h2, white will simply push his pawn, e6, rook e2 check, and here white will try to hide his king in front of the pawn and eventually achieve a Lucena position. And after e7, we have a Lucena position. So back to our main position. Sorry about that. So black tried to move rook to e8. But after king f5, white will slowly but surely advance his pawn. Rook f8 check, king to e6, rook e8, king f6, slowly making progress. And now the pawn advances, rook f7, rook h7 check, king f6, rook h6 check. Once again, black does not have sufficient checking distance because the rook is on the short side of the pawn. And after king f7, rook h7 check, king g6, the rook has to retreat. e7, rook g2 check, king f7, rook f2 check, king e8, and white has achieved the Lucena position. So if you don't know what the Lucena position is, do check out my video on that topic. Link will be in the description below. So now it's time to build a bridge. After king c7, rook c1 check, king b7, rook comes to the 4th rank. Now the king steps up. King d6 is a crucial move to defend that pawn. And after rook d1 check, king e5, rook e1 check, the rook intercepts, forming a bridge, and white will win the game. So hopefully this gives you an idea of a position to try and achieve to convert that extra pawn in rook endings. So I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching and have a great day.